Today we're going to go ahead and look at a different method used for modeling, and that is what we call the subtractive method. This method is used when we need to successfully cut away material from a solid block of material. In a previous tutorial, we took a look at what the additive method was and how we can actually use the additive method to build layer by layer until we get our desired shape. Today we're going to look at what happens when you already have a shape or a block of material, and how can we remove certain portions of that in order to get a specific shape. Here you're going to notice that we are going to be starting with a block that measures at 2¼ inches across by 2¼ inches deep by 1½ inches tall. Using that block, we're going to remove material in order to get our desired puzzle piece. What we need to keep in mind as we go through this is that our dimensions need to be accurate and that we use the file that's provided in order to get our desired shape. So taking a look at what our measurements of our puzzle piece are going to look like, you're going to notice that in our multi-view drawing, in our width dimensions, we are measuring at 2¼ inches across. Our overall depth of our shape is measuring 2¼ inches deep. And then we have an overall height of 1½ inches. We're going to use this multi-view drawing as we go through our SketchUp for Schools tutorial. Now that we're ready to go ahead and start modeling, we're going to go into our SketchUp for Schools, and we're going to go ahead and open our subtractive method example block. This is where we want to start from. This will actually bring in a file for us, and we're simply going to go ahead and modify that. So in order to do that, you are going to need to download your file and then import it into SketchUp. Once it's imported in, we can simply go ahead and click on that and open that file. Here you'll notice that you have your block, and again, if we want to go ahead and check our measurements, we can use the measuring tape and check from one vertice to the next. We should see that that measures 2¼ inches. If we want to go ahead and check from one end to the other to check the depth, we can see that the depth is also 2¼ and last but not least, if we check our overall height, we'll see that that's 1½ inches. Now what we're going to want to go ahead and do with this is remove certain sections of this that we know are going to be basically gone. Nothing left of it. We want to remove all of the material from that shape. And when I look at my top view of this, what I'm going to notice is this back left corner, the back right corner, and the front middle to left all can be removed. So when we look at our isometric view, you're going to notice that that left and right corner in the back are going to be removed completely, as well as a certain section from the front. So now when we take a look at each one of those blocks, we know that the depth we have to remove is going to be 3/4 inch, and the width of that block is also going to be 3/4 inch. So we're going to need to go to our view tool, and we're going to go ahead and select the top of the house so we're looking straight down. Once we're here, now we can go ahead and basically start sketching. We're going to go ahead and use a new tool here called the rectangle tool. So in previous examples, we used our line, and now we're going to go down and select that rectangle. Make sure you select rectangle, and we're going to go ahead and start in that upper left vertex. We're going to go ahead and click once and drag that rectangle out. Now before we go and click on anything and set our parameters or our dimensions, what we're going to want to do is type these in. And these go in a little bit different than your normal line tool dimensions would go in. We're going to need to have a length and a width for our rectangle. So we're going to go ahead and add our 0.75, which will be our length. We'll add a comma and then add the width of this, which will be another 0.75. Once we go ahead and hit enter, it will lock into place for us. We can do the same thing in the upper right hand corner. We're going to drag that rectangle out, add a 0.75 by a comma, and then another 0.75 and then enter. Now you have the two squares in the back left and right that we can go ahead and modify. We're going to go ahead and select our house to get our isometric view, and then we can go ahead and select our push-pull tool. We did this in our additive method tutorial, but instead of pulling that material up, we're going to go ahead and push it down so that it is removed. We're going to go ahead and select that sketch that we created and click once, and you notice if I move the mouse up, it's going to pull that material up. In this case, we're going to want to go ahead and push it down until we get to that base view where it says on face. Go ahead and click once and you'll notice that it'll be removed. I'm going to rotate my shape around, select the second sketch, and I'm going to push that down as well. Go ahead and click, and you can remove that portion as well. Now, looking at our top view, what we're going to notice here is that we remove the back left and right corners, but we still do need to move that front left. So taking a look at that front left corner, what we're going to notice is that we're going to need to remove a rectangle that measures a width of 1.5 inches by 0.75 inches deep. So we're going to go ahead and select that rectangle tool again, and we're going to go ahead and click on that bottom vertex. Now, once we drag that rectangle out, we're going to want to go ahead and add that 1.5 inches, comma, and now we can go ahead and add the width to that, which is going to be 0.75. Go ahead and select enter, and there you have another sketch. Go ahead and grab that push-pull, rotate your object, and select that sketch. Go ahead and push that down till you get that on face, and go ahead and click. Now that we have our general profile, we can go ahead and take a look at what other material needs to be removed. So taking a look at our shape, what we're going to notice is that this L shape here is not as tall as that back pillar. And when we look in that right side view, what we're going to notice is that the height of that L should be 0.75 inches. Now, if we go back into SketchUp and grab that push-pull tool, and we try to pull that down, you're going to notice it's going to pull the entire shape. We want to be able to create two different sketches here. We want that L shape to be different from that back pillar. So we're going to stay in that top view, and from that top view, we're going to grab our line tool, and we're going to go from one vertex to the other, and we're going to create another sketch. Now that we have that sketch, we can go and grab that push-pull, and we're going to go ahead and click on this once and then go ahead and push it down. Now, before we go ahead and click for that second time, we're going to put in our distance of 0.75. Once you go ahead and select enter, now you're going to have your shape that we have in our multi-view drawing. Again, you can use your tape measure tool if you would like to go back and check to see exactly what those dimensions are. We're going to go ahead and use this zoom extents to bring it into view. And there you have a subtractive method with your 3D modeling program.